Hello, everyone. I want you to do me a favor. This is my starting thing. I like to tell people, if you have a question, stop. I will answer. Because if you're wondering, well, I wonder what did she say? And you think, oh, that's a stupid question. No such thing as a stupid question because the person next to you probably thinking the same thing. I could give you the wrong answer, but there's no. You know what I'm saying is, if you're wondering, I bet you everybody else is wondering. So just ask, and that's what we're here to do: is share knowledge. I'm here to help you understand the business of your business, because if you don't know the business behind your business, you fail. And that's just the bottom line. So many people I've seen fail. I was a business tax auditor for 33 years. Most companies failed because they didn't know the business behind their business. Not that they couldn't make a good product, sell a good, have a great service. That's what they were good at. If you're not good with the business end, but get someone else to help you, or keep coming to seminars. That's way, and you'll inform yourself, because when you inform yourself, you also know if you have a good accountant. I had two people just today find out, oh, why didn't my accountant say this? Why did my accountant say that? Right? And they go, now I know. So it's empowering you. It's empowering you to know the business behind your business. And we can't answer super complex personal questions. Small ones that you're going, I'm confused, and you probably know the other person who's confused. If you have something really complex, I'm offering 15 minutes free to anybody after, you can call me. And then I can refer you on to a new business, because I can't take any more clients right now. But we have vetted, my associate was here today, we vetted a couple of really good companies, reasonably priced, know their stuff and know about the arts. Okay? I've got one more vetted. Okay. So, yeah. I want everybody to help everybody. Technology is moving so fast. And the problem is that many of us have started out, what's a computer, what's a cell phone? We didn't even know. So the learning curve, and it's still going up. And so when you don't ever think anybody's stupid, don't feel stupid, always double check about someone phoning you, someone sending you an email. Because there's a lot of scammers out there, and they're making a fortune, and that's why they keep doing it. The older people are the people we need to help. Our aunts, our mothers, our grandmothers, they don't like to talk about their finances. So if they get one of those calls, they don't want to tell you that they just went to the bank and took out 5,000 and wired it to some place in Nicaragua or something. They don't want to say it. They don't want to feel stupid. So open up the conversation so they don't have to. It's part of the older era. Nobody wants to talk. That's no one. I don't want to talk about my finances. So if you get an email, make sure it is from CRA. If you're not sure, phone CRA. But if you are signed up for my account, which I want everyone to do, if you haven't done so, do it today, okay? And my business account, if you're registered for GST, everything's going electronic. To the point the CRA is sending you electronic information, and you're not even signed up to my account. Don't forget, that's not my account, that's your account. It's just get so confusing. My account, right? They're forcing people to do it. If you do not do it, you're getting left behind in the dust. Okay? Yes, you have a question.
So if we don't do it, we get left behind. Certainly, they'll still take our money from taxes.
Well, you're going to have a hard time filing your taxes because you can't get the information off the CRA site. You cannot authorize me as a representative to file your taxes without going onto your my account and authorizing me. You didn't get the letter that they said, oh, by the way, we didn't like what you filed last year, so we've changed it, and now you owe us $10,000. They'll take your money, but now you owe them more, and they charge interest. Really, really important. If you don't know how to do it, phone up now before it gets busy time, and they will walk you through all the information you need, what you need to do to set up a my account. Yes. You don't like.
It's not a question. It's just given the. Okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No.
I just thought, given the amount of problems they've had with online, screw ups.
Oh yeah. The screw ups are getting less sometimes.
Yeah.
I need to qualify that. But when you phone up and say, I want to sign up for my account, you're probably going to genuinely get someone who knows how to set up my account. And then they will send you emails, and they will send you an email that says, CRA, do not reply. You have a message in your My Account. Go to your CRA account. What does that mean? You can't reply. There's no links in that email. It means go to the CRA site, sign into your My Account, and find out what information they sent you. It's so safe because there's nothing in that email to reply to or link to, okay? You go straight to the CRA site, which is, okay, they had a breach a few years ago. It can happen. They correct things that can happen to any company, no matter how big, no matter how secure, right? But normally to do the basics like that, you're pretty safe by all means, and you have to do it. I hate to tell everybody you've got to keep up with technology. You just have to. And if you don't, you're going to have problems in your business too. You're going to have problems getting into your house too. Sorry. It is getting to that point that, everything is so, your phone does this and this does this and this does that. You got to keep up with it. You may use some, but you don't have to use it all. Some people still like to go see the bank teller instead of using the machine. The bank tellers will be there, but they're less and less and less. And the lineups get longer and longer and longer because they want you to do as much as you can with the online banking. The ATM machines, it's just the way the world is going. I don't really like it either, but I'm keeping up. Some of it I do. Some of it I do. I really like some of the things on Facebook. Sitting around and looking at people. Oh, I think I'll check up on this person. But yes, okay, very important to set up. And then when you do that, you get something from CRA. It's going to be a legitimate email. You don't respond to it. You go to your CRA My Account. And always ask, am I expecting a big refund from CRA? Who's asking me for information to deposit it to my bank account now, to my bank account number? That's always an interesting one. Ask the questions, right? Phone up, say it's the person, what's your phone number? And they'll give you some random number. Okay, good. Then go to the CRA site from their legitimate phone number and say, why would I be getting a refund? I don't know anything about that. Why am I owing money? And can they put you in jail? Absolutely not. You got to go to court first. Like, oh, I'm going to take your firstborn child. Well, there were days I wish they would. But they can't do that. These idle threats these people are making on the phone are just that. Okay? And if you like to do what I like to do, I like to scam them back. And I'm just having sometimes I've got time because I work for the National Anti-Fraud Association. Could you just stay on the phone another couple of minutes? So, and why are they asking me for information? There are times CRA legitimately needs to verify who you are. Ask for their agent ID, phone 1-800-O-Canada, and find out if that person really works there. If they do, phone them back and say, okay, I'm ready to verify who I am. I got some sturdy phone calls so we can talk about my taxes, okay? Those are really important to help out anybody you can. Are you running away on me?
Oh, I'm just going to turn off the fan.
I can probably talk over it. How you doing, man?
It's good to see you, Janis.
Yeah, I've seen you a long time. I recognize you, though. I'm good. I'm just waiting for the next slide. Okay. Well, thanks. That worked. All right. We're not going to talk too much about employee expenses. There are such a thing as employees can deduct certain expenses if required to incur them and your employer fills out the right form. There are artist expenses too. Most of the people here are self-employed. Anybody have a corporation? Oh, you okay? And you do. Oh, wow. We didn't have anybody. There's some different rules with corporations than there are with proprietorships. I will try and touch on them, but both of you might have to come and ask me. I will tell everybody else, do not incorporate unless you know what you're doing and you know why. The problem with incorporating is that it's great to pay a lower tax rate if you leave the money in the corporation. If you're not leaving any money in your corporation, what benefit is it? It used to be it has that personal liability veil, so they couldn't go after your asset. That doesn't happen much anymore. You have to give a personal guarantee to small corporations. It costs you a lot more money because you have to do formal bookkeeping. You have to file your returns using Giphy, which is an electronic format. No longer will they accept paper corporate returns. So it's gotten a lot more complicated. So please get the advice of a professional before you ever incorporate. And those of you that are incorporated, you probably got specific questions about that. We can touch on those. Just put up your hand. So you want to, this is the things we're going to cover. Keeping records, what do you include in income? What expenses can you deduct and can't you deduct? What do you depreciate? What the heck is depreciation, okay? When do I register for GST? I know, I roll my eyes when I talk about GST. I hate GST. I don't like GST auditors, and that was a bias when I worked at CRA because us tax people did not like the GST people, and it's stuck. Just that way. It's very complicated, and they are much more ruthless than any tax auditor, let me tell you. Donating services to charities, we're going to touch on that one. That one's a really very difficult subject. What is inventory? What is a business number? Audit and important dates. Okay, we're going to try to go through this like at any time. Like I saw you're confused. Let's clear it up and keep on going. I know you don't want to register for my account, but you have
No, it's okay.
I do.
Just in a mood.
We'll get you there. We'll get you by the end of this. Okay. An employee, like I said, there's limitations. We are not going to touch on it much. Is everybody's got a self-employed music or arts?
If you have a career as an exhibiting artist, but also are teaching at a university setting.
That's okay. It all goes on the same tax return.
Okay.
Your proprietorship income goes on what's called a T2125. Business income and expenses that forms part of your personal return where you're claiming, where you're reporting your income from the university. If you have a loss on your artist business, it reduces the tax you pay on your U of A. So you're going to get some of that tax back. And we'll touch on, somebody said to me at CRA, if I'm losing money all the time, are they going to say I'm not in business? They tried that years ago. And the courts have shut them down like you won't believe. No expectation of profit or you're not in business is very difficult to determine. They have to look at what you're, if you're not got any personal expenses in there, you're acting in a prudent business-like fashion. You're doing what you can to make money, and it's just taking longer. But what's the length of time? Really, you can't put a length of time on it. So don't worry about that. And if you ever hear about that, just CRA would have to send you a letter, and then you need to get professional advice. Pull me up. I love taking them on those ones. I swear. That would be a challenge. Okay. So we've got proprietorship versus corporation. You're all proprietorships except two that are incorporated, right? Income is to be reported on the accrual basis. That's technically the accounting term for when you sign a contract, you should be reporting it now, not when you get it. But most artists that are not incorporated will be reporting on a cash basis. When you get it, you report. Okay? And you must prepare. Yes.
Is there a difference between a business partnership and a business proprietorship?
Yes. Okay. Are you in a partnership?
Yes.
Okay. If you're in a partnership, make sure you have a partnership agreement. Make sure you have a partnership bank account. Make sure the grant and everything and the income is paid to the name of the partnership. It basically gets to deduct the same thing. It's reported on your personal tax return, but you're both splitting it. And if it's registered for GST, it's kind of separate. You could have 4 other proprietorships that won't be affected by that GST registration, okay? So when we get to GST, make sure to come back to that. And these people at corporations, corporations are a separate legal entity. It's not you. So when the corporation registers for GST, it's the corporation registered for GST. And that's what makes a bit more complicated, but once they're in business, they start understanding how that works. So the T2125, okay, I know nothing about TurboTax except I think it costs too much and there's a lot of really good free software out there. But what softwares? Quickly, let's touch on what softwares people use. TurboTax. What do you think? What?
Well, simple.
Yeah, I hear West Central is supposed to be good. It's free, right?
Yes.
So when the CRA site, there's a place that they show what their certified free software is for proprietorship and individuals. So you're just an individual, you haven't gotten into business yet. There's free certified software on there. Don't pay for TurboTax if you don't have to. Now, we had someone in the other class that was using QuickBooks for self-employed.
Yeah, not for, but it helped them with their taxes, but they were using it to track their
Yeah.
expenses.
And I bet you that connects with profiles and into it, but that's a different thing.
So
They were-
TurboTax.
Oh, that's right, too, it is. So if you want to keep track of expenses in that, QuickBooks for self-employed, you take a picture, upload it. Wave, take a picture, you can upload it. You set up the category, boom, boom, boom. So you're keeping track of all your expenses. You got these nice little pictures. How am I sending things to CRA when they say, what's all your meal expenses, Rhea? And I'll go, well, send me your pictures. And I'll send them and I'll show that's the total we claimed for meals. So it's a really good way of keeping track. And if people don't have it and they have paper, I scan it and then I upload it and send it to CRA. You don't want to, the days of mailing things and faxing things, I still have a fax machine, mailing things and faxing things to CRA are kind of out the door. They don't want it mailed to them. They don't want a fax. They want you to upload it, you get a confirmation, and you know somebody got it, right? It didn't get lost in the mail. Okay, yes.
Just a clarification, you said about income to be reported on the accrual basis. And you were saying, well, if you get a contract, you report that, not when you get the contract, right? Like it's just,
Well,
it's on your income tax return.
technically you should be reporting the income the day you sign the contract because it's service, but it's not being done in the arts at all.
Reporting it to who?
On your tax return. Let's say you signed the contract in 2025, you should report that income in 2025, not when you receive it in 2026.
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
a lot of people in the arts aren't doing that, and that's what created so much confusion during COVID.
Right.
That was, yeah. So but with a corporation, absolutely, you have to report it when you sign the contract, not when you get the payment, right? Yes, you have a question?
No, you just answered it.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yes, question.
Oh, sorry.
So if you got a grant in 2025, money didn't show up until 2026. When do you,
What did your T slip say? 2025 or 2026?
I don't know, I just got it.
Okay, that is a kind of different. Again, that's a kind of different situation. If your T slip is for 2025, it would be a T4A. Then you're going to have to report it in 2025, but you didn't use it. You haven't had a chance to use it, right? I signed the contract. I said I'd get it December 31st. I haven't had a chance to use it. I'm going to use it in 2026, and that's when I have my expenses to match with that income. You still have to report it in 2025 because the T slip is the almighty slip. We have no choice but to report it in that year. You get to claim a reserve. You get $50,000 grant, you report it, okay, and then you get to claim a reserve on your T2125, which is a business income and expense statement. Under other expenses, you will claim reserve for grant not used. Then in 2026, there's a place on the T2125 that says reserves deducted in prior year. That's where you add it into income. What the idea is, let's match income and expenses. Why report a $40,000 grant in 2025 and you've got no expenses to match it? Let's take it into the year you're going to use it. And if anybody has an accountant that says you can't do that, give me their number. I'll tell them what lines it goes on because it's a legitimate, there's many reserves in accounting, many. And that's just one of them.
Could you tell us that one again? Just, I'm trying to visualize it so I get it right, because I am exactly in that situation.
Oh, okay. You get your T4A slip in the mail and it says it's taxable in 2025. You're gonna have to add it into your income in 2025 on your T2125. It's going to go, because they are putting it in box 48 that puts it as self-employed income, basically what that means. So it's in there, and you're going, I don't have any expenses to claim against it. I didn't start to use that grant yet. So at the bottom of that T2021-25, it says other expenses. You are going to write in there reserved for grant income not used. And I'm going to send this to Shirley to show exactly on the form where it is. So, okay, now that $40,000 is, and you claimed 40 is zero. Added it in, deducted it. I've got zero income, zero expenses. I'm simplifying things, right? Because you probably have other expenses, other income, but let's just simplify it. The next year, there's a form on your 2026 business and income statement that says add in reserves deducted in a prior year. You will add in that 40,000 and become income in 2026. Because you just can't get around when T4A or a T4 slip says a certain year, can't change it without going back to their office, and they're not going to. They okie dokie did in 2025. Okay.
That was my biggest question.
Oh, good. And you know what? We forgot to go over that one of the last ones. Essentially, okay. Keeping records. Oh, there's so many different ways. Figure out a way that works for you. Rebecca will be sending you a spreadsheet. It is simple, simple, simple. The columns match what's on the tax fields on a tax return. Don't change the names of the columns. Because if you do, it doesn't match what's on that form in your tax return. I made it to match, right? And there's a description area, and you can write it in, you can put it into Google Sheets, you can add functions, you can do whatever you want. Just don't change the names of the columns. And the description area will say what it is. So I can't find a column that matches this. We'll figure it out, put it somewhere and put it in the description. You can find something similar. You know, you'll find something. People will say, well, I don't have that. I have this. I say, I don't care. Call it a business expense. It's an expense of doing business, right? Okay, so there's spreadsheets. There's QuickBooks for self-employed. There's Simply Accounting. Don't touch that one unless you're an accountant. Expensify. There's all these different softwares. You can just take a picture of your expenses are big. Your income's more simplified, but it's take a picture, put it into a program, or take all your receipts and fill out the spreadsheet. You can fill it out by hand. You can fill it out by Excel. You can fill it out any way you're comfortable. Okay, just keep track somehow. Okay. What do you include in income? Well, almost everything. Performance fees, service fees, anything in a verbal or written contract. I highly recommend you get into a habit of invoicing people for your services. When you do that, you're keeping really good track of your income, okay? Because if you ever got audited, this is a trick of CRA auditor. Oh, we need all your bank accounts. They add up all your income. Go, whoa, well, that's not what you reported, but that's not all income, right? So because you get money from a friend. I like to order Melaleuca. My friends like to order, so they pay me back for it. You know, you've got all this money going back and forth, right? And it's not absolutely income. It's just life, right? Or you get non-taxable amounts. People get child benefit, or some of us, I don't get any non-taxable amounts anymore. But anyways, the thing is to keep track, do your due diligence. You have your invoices that match certain deposits. This was my income, right? And if somebody says, oh, I don't need that piece of paper, well, then don't do whatever you want. Put it on the bottom of the birth page. I don't care, right? But it's for me, right? Contracts, very important. People in the music industry know this one. Lay out the terms, right? Load in, load out. Who's my contact? What's my bar tab? I mean, the important things in life, right? So it's real. Cover yourself in business. Don't worry what the other guy says to you. It's your business. Yes.
ITC still a thing.
Oh, they're a thing. That's the GST part of life. Okay, we'll get to the IT. ITCs are called input tax credits. It's the expense part for GST that we will cover, because GST had to add. I don't know why they just didn't put the tax rates up a certain amount and start this whole GST thing. It's very, very complicated. And the Excise Tax Act is unbelievably complicated. And that's why I'm a tax auditor. Just the auditor. No, so we got a whole bunch of amounts. So somebody pays for your bar tabs, hotels, airfare, food. That's actually income. But if you paid for it and they're reimbursing you, you've got the receipt. You add it into income, claim the expense, right? It's a zero out. Royalties, of course, are taxable. Sale of merchandise is taxable. Sponsorship income is taxable. Barter, okay,
How does that?
barter transaction. Never in my life have I seen anybody report it. Here's an interesting barter transaction that should really be reported. I'm an accountant, right? So I'll say to Rebecca, I'll do your tax return if you can do my hair for me. And she's not really a hairdresser, but she would charge. So let's say she's not, so I'm asking, well, she could be a hairdresser. Yeah, that would work. Yeah, hairdresser. And so I'm saying, I'm bartering a service that's for a personal benefit. That one should be reported. But most barters, if I say, I'll do your taxes, you, what's mine, repair my car, which would be part of it's a deductible on my taxes, right? It's for the same value, in and out. So most people don't ever report them. I've never seen one reported in my whole life, never. I don't know. They just don't bother. Okay, let's go into, grants. Grants are taxable. Okay, you have to report them, but they don't qualify for GST when you're registered for GST. We'll get more into that one. That's a really complicated area. So grants, you have to report them and pay tax on them, but you get to deduct the expenses you got that grant for, and over and above. Most people get a grant, so you're making music of some type or video. You're making a video. You pay $60,000, you get a grant for $60,000. You're probably going to pay out more than $60,000 in expenses. That's okay. You can claim a loss that year, or you've got other income and other expenses, and they all total up. Okay, but yes, grants are federal and provincial. AFA doesn't like to send slips. I don't know. Anybody got? Yeah, I don't know. You're supposed to report it, but they don't send a slip. All of a sudden, I think CRA is going to get this information and check and see if people have reported it. So that's the other thing. Income from another country, like the US, is definitely taxable. Sound exchange. There are a couple artists that make some big bucks on sound exchange. And that's to be reported in Canada as well. Okay. Yes.
Okay, what if you have income that is not quite a barter, but you're providing a service internationally, you're not getting paid, but they cover your expenses, and then it sits offshore?
Offshore?
Yeah. It's just in an international account because they can't pay.
Holy Moses, they can get some really good tax advice if they're making offshore.
No, but it's tiny. It's like I'm talking, it's just reimbursement. Like it's.
That's okay. You can be reimbursed for expenses.
And do I have to
report them? You have a
different thing?
Okay, you have a choice. You report the income, claim the expenses. So it's a zero.
Okay.
Or you don't report the income, you don't claim the expenses.
And nobody's okay.
I would, do my due diligence to keep things straight, I would report the income and claim the expenses. So it's all there and it doesn't get confused, definitely. Offshore, I thought, holy moly.
I know it sounds expensive.
Here, offshore. Okay. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
No, please do.
Just going back, I know you're going to talk about it, and if you're going to talk about it, you can just say, I'm going to talk about that later. You were saying about that GST is not applicable on grants / awards. What if someone received an award, there's no deductions to do with this award? Does that also is excluded from GST?
It's excluded from GST and sometimes it's not taxable. And this is someone asked me tonight about a prize and awards. There's different rules for different types of prizes and different types of awards. Honestly, off the top of my head, I can't answer that one, but definitely if you give me a call, search it.
100%.
Because I do know there's a difference depending what kind of award or what kind of prize, if it's an award or a prize. Do you know off the top of your head?
We kind of treat it similar to a grant a little bit.
Still added into income.
Yeah.
I had one in my lifetime that someone won and it wasn't taxable, so there's the odd one.
Yeah.
Most of the time they're taxable,
Yeah.
but we can always check into what kind, okay? Okay, non-deductible expenses. Okay, CRA says, yeah, you can deduct all expenses that pertain to your business. You have to spend the money to make your income. You need to be reasonable, right? But then they come up with rules that say, well, except for, and there's a whole bunch of exceptions. These are kind of golf fees, which I have a lot of realtors as clients. They take people golfing. Well, you can't deduct the golf fees, but you can go to the clubhouse and have a clubhouse sandwich and 6 beer, and you can deduct that. I didn't write these rules. Yeah, whoever did, really, I don't know. Some of them are extremely complicated, don't make sense, are hard to follow, but that's what they are. I won't tell you what they are, and hopefully people get into government, talk to your MP, your MLA, just go after this stuff, because the tax system right now is extremely archaic. They have not changed so much about the tax system, unless it's very political and they want to do it as soon as there's a new person in power, right? Otherwise, a lot of these rules have been around forever. A lot of the letters CRA sends you, and you're going, wow, they're asking for all this stuff. It was written 35 years ago. Like they really haven't kept up to date. Some of these rules, they haven't kept up to date. We were talking today about cosmetic surgery. When you are in the entertainment business, you should be able to deduct cosmetic surgery to stay looking the way you need to look, maybe enhancing certain items or going to the gym and buffing up and stuff. No, you can't. In the States, you can't. And you can't even deduct them as a medical expense if they're cosmetic. It has to be for a medical purpose. Yes.
So what if you, for example, have a gym membership because you have to do rehabilitative work on an injury that you got on the job as an artist? Do you have to do some special?
Your doctor would actually have to give you a prescription that you had to go to the gym. Yeah.
And then you would claim it under your personal medical.
Yeah, that wouldn't actually go on the business side. It would go on another part on your tax return. Meals and snacks. Okay, this is another one of those rules. If you're away from Edmonton, let's say everybody lives in Edmonton, you're away from Edmonton and you have to get a coffee and a muffin, you get to deduct that on your taxes because you're on travel status. But if you're in Edmonton where you live and you get a coffee and a donut, you can't deduct that because you're not on travel status and you should have brought it from home. Like everyone's cooking donuts every day. Yes.
Do you still have a meal meeting?
Yes. That's the answer. Yes, if you do this.
I'm with a stupid
Okay.
question.
Now when we're in.
I'm with a stupid question.
Oh no! Oh, your own.
Yeah. So
no answer. But
if you went somewhere on a business trip, yeah, and took a coffee, right?
Yeah.
You need to have a receipt anyway, right?
Yes.
So like all deduction, you cannot like print that's why it's stupid. You cannot print the statement from the bank and say like, hey, I'll be here. All receipts, right?
Now I'm going to tell you, some accountants will go off your bank statements and credit cards. Absolutely, you are not substantiating your expenses properly. You're not showing the GST. And when I buy something at the Bay that used to exist, I love the Bay. But if I bought something at the Bay and I put a rug for my office, if I don't have the receipt, how do you know I didn't buy a new winter coat? The receipts tell you what you did, right? It's very important to keep them, and this is why these new apps take a picture. And a lot of people just take those receipts and throw it in a box at home if they're ever asked for them. But the pictures are working right now. Very, very good. So now back to the meals. If you have a meal, I want to take Rebecca out and schmooze with her because I want to do more senators. So we go out for dinner. I have to pay for her dinner and my dinner, right? I order wine because I like wine. Yeah, okay, we both like that. The whole amount gets deducted as a business meal. You put the 100% on your tax spreadsheet or wherever you're keeping track. Once you get to your tax software, the software says, you can't have 100%. You get 50% of all meals and entertainment. Why? Because they feel that there's always some personal portion, and people have abused this meals and entertainment thing for a long time. So, I didn't write the rule. You're looking at me like I didn't. It drives me crazy. So if you have let's say you're going to rehearsal and you buy a whole bunch of Timbits and coffee for everybody, I would definitely claim that because you're buying it for other people for a business purpose. But it would still go under meals. Unless you want to sneak it under the promotion column. And then see, you can do little gray area things. And when you have an accountant, they'll kind of advise, as long as you're not abusing it, you're being reasonable, right? Even couples who are in business together, I say, go for dinner once a month. Get a babysitter and go for dinner and write off your dinner as a business meal. Because you can't talk business at home with young kids, right? Forget it. It ain't happening. They'll interrupt somehow. So it's just be reasonable. CRA's not sitting right there either. But you want to be careful. I know some people have gotten greedy on the meals and entertainment part, and man, they slap them on that. And I know one guy, as a realtor, spends $40,000 a year on Oilers tickets, and because he gives them to his clients, but he only gets to write off $20,000, only half because it's entertainment. But he said, I know it's my choice, and I make way more money because it's schmoozing on the high level. Right? They're good. Oh, they're good seats. Work clothes. Be careful that they have to be considered a wardrobe or they're safety clothes. Otherwise, if you just go buy a t-shirt and ratty jeans and a pair of sneakers, I'm going to do country. Oh, I'm going to buy a hat, right? That is not a wardrobe. You can wear that anywhere. Your Cher, your Lady Gaga, that's a wardrobe. Now, somewhere in between, you can argue if you have to buy certain things. Especially if you're a dancer or something like that, you're going to have to buy certain items. Definitely, that's your wardrobe for sure. Gym memberships, no. We should be doing preventative health. This is where the system's archaic. Protein drinks, vitamins, no. Why? Because they weren't prescribed by a doctor. Yes.
Back to the gym membership. So, like, I'm a dancer, so like I would need to do it, but I'm actually not paying for it because I get it through my work. But in terms of like not rehearsals classes or like class passes and things like that, like I do deduct those like for like as professional development. But are they not?
Technically no, but that's a good place to put it. I would. You could sneak that in there
Because I do get also like
because you're getting training. Too.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. But like, wouldn't gym be the same for me?
That's a gray area, and if they saw Good Life Gym or Planet Fitness, they're not going to allow it to be.
Right. I mean,
But
it's
your
not
classes
right
are
now,
a development class. Yeah, you might be able to sneak that one in there, but you'd have to be ready to justify it.
Of course.
Yeah. If audited. Okay, and here's the thing, people. We don't know. It's a self-assessment system. You could never get audited in 20 years. And then you could get audited 5 years in a row. I have a lady who's been audited 5 years in a row for exactly the same thing. We have one at the appeals level every single time. And I say, can't you look at the history of this is harassment? Oh no, we can't do that, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, yes.
You may have answered this, but I did process maybe. So as a fiber artist, I go and I take a class, like I'm taking a felting class, for instance, is that deductible?
Yes, professional development.
Professional development.
Yeah, anything that's not, like, let's say you didn't get a tuition receipt, you went to Banff School of Fine Arts and went for the weekend for some seminar training, that is professional development as well. And you snuck in the class is very good. I admire that. Yes.
If we buy gifts for like snacks or drinks or things like that for people that we're working with that aren't a part of our company, is that deductible?
It is, but at 50% again. So here's these are these. I'm telling you, I think they're stupid rules. But anyways, they are what they are. Realtors will go buy a big stack of gift cards to the cake to give to their clients. They spend $2,000 because those gift cards are for meals. They only get to deduct $1,000. Where if they went and bought 2,000 of Home Depot cards, they could deduct the 2,000. Because it's not a meal or entertainment. I know, that's why I'm going, like, sometimes you gotta do the little workaround here, right? And figure that out. So plastic surgery, not unless it's for medical purposes, is deductible on another part of your tax return. Like if you needed to get, there's a medical reason you needed surgery. And in the States, you get whatever enhancements to whatever body part for acting and that, it's totally deductible. That's all I want to talk about the States for now.
Yeah, thank
Hair and makeup for it has to be for promotional things, like for a business card. Well, nobody hands out business cards anymore, do they? Well, maybe a few.
Headshots.
For a video for a public. Let's say you're going to a gala. Yeah, I do it there because you got to look a certain way, right? You can't deduct cannabis. Now, that's not my thing. I'm a wine person, but we all have our weaknesses, shall we say. But the thing is that I asked Siri, now why wine and alcohol when you go for dinner, but not cannabis? And they said, because cannabis is not considered part of entertainment or offered at a restaurant.
Yeah.
That's their workaround.
Nearby there.
Pardon?
I'll do the rest.
Okay. What expenses can you deduct? Let's anything otherwise that you really need to make money. You're out to make money, you have to incur expenses, right? They have to be laid out for business purposes, not personal. If there's a personal portion, be reasonable. Claim part business, part personal. And write down your reason somewhere that if 2 years from now you're audited, oh, I claimed 60% business and 40% personal because of this reasoning. We talked about cell phones before. They used to go nutso about cell phones. They backed off now because your cell plan is going to be 100% the same whether you're using it to call the kids, whether you've got extra minutes, whether you've got calling long distance. Cell phones are totally different. So I claim mine 100%. But if you're only kind of part-time in business, going 50% I use my cell phone, the rest of it I use it for personal, then you'll be reasonable. But there's no way I'm not deducting 100% on that phone all the time. Yes.
Would that apply to like you talked about like clothing or like wardrobe for dance? Like I didn't know that you can like kind of do percentage, I guess with those, like would that apply for those kinds of
It
expenses?
truly is a wardrobe, but let's say you buy something for dance, you go, well, I can wear that out on my next date. Then really is it a wardrobe or would you wear it again? So maybe you have to be the judge and make a personal portion, I think. Okay. These are things, it's a gray area. Tax is gray, even though sometimes it looks black and white, it's quite gray. So we got insurance and equipment, cost of repairs to equipment. These are the ones that are, easy, makes sense, right? Yes.
Is it car equipment?
Okay, we'll get you a car. There's a separate area. We definitely will. Legal and accounting, you hire someone like me, I'm deductible, right? Union dues and professional memberships, agents' commissions, subcontract payments, or assistance, you can deduct as business, yes.
Insurance and premium on equipment, but general liability insurance is deductible.
Yes, yeah, you got liability insurance for your business, definitely. You have to get it, right? Yeah, not life insurance. Well, there's different kinds of life insurance. General life insurance, no. If it's a key person insurance in a corporation, yes, but that's getting into the other life insurances. Makeup and hairstyling required for business, yes. I just put CDLP replication because I think, they laughed at LPs a few years ago. They don't laughing at that anymore. Okay, I know. But we called them LPs, right?
The switch too fast. The personal hair, to like, let's say I'm doing like haircut like every month, I can deduct it.
No, not unless you need it for a certain reason. A haircut every month, unless you are required to look a certain way in your business every month. I
So
would.
let's say I'm like a TV reporter, yeah, and I need to like look good, right? Let's say, yeah, or like I'm a blogger, yeah, and I need to look good, so it's gonna be deducted.
We all want to look like I can't deduct my hair. Well, not that I do much with it, but anyways, you know what I mean. Is that I'm not going for a photo shoot. I'm not doing a video. A lot of times it's very personal. Are you an actor or something that wants to look a certain way?
I'm a producer, yeah.
Pardon me?
Producer. director, but sometimes I'm in the frame. So
Yeah, I would say most of that's a personal haircut. It's not for a specific purpose, right? And here's the other thing, it's small, right? So if you did deduct it by mistake and you were ever audited, they probably would do nothing about that if it's the only mistake they found, because it's not material. You know, they have to usually have at least $1,000 tax change in an audit to change anything. Oh, was I supposed to say that? I don't work there anymore. I can. Yeah. Okay. Publicity expenses, transportation, board and lodging, basically Ubers, motels, hotels, right? I got to update this. I use the term off CRA site, and I'm going, it's so archaic. Transportation board and lodging. Videotaping, you can deduct telephone expenses, meals and entertainment. We were going to go back into a little another screen. We'll cover it again, just go over it because that's an important one. Wardrobe solely used for performance or safety. Ron, that was here earlier, an associate of mine, works with IATSE. They need safety stuff, all black shoes, black outfits. They're doing the lighting way up high on the scaffolds, right? Probably need a harness. I don't know what all they do. So anyways, there's certain things you have to have for a certain business, and safety is really important. Repairs, alteration, and cleaning of clothes at our wardrobe. Yes, go ahead. Website design. Nowadays, a lot of people are doing their own. It's not the big expense. Well, it can be, but a lot of people, it's not the big expense it used to be. I said, no, I never changed it because I don't advertise, but I thought, well, it just gives me some legitimacy, right? Pay for a domain, that's about it. Okay, publish, we did that one, okay. Workspace in the home, we're going to talk about that. There's certain rules. Cost of music, cost of lessons incurred for self-improvement. There's your self-improvement right there. Cost of industry, so here's the thing. Now that should be changed to Netflix. Great for that new movie out. I'm going to open it. The lady in another class of traders offered a special. It's $3 for 3 months. You can get it and then cancel it after you've watched Heated Rivalries, right? Ooh. So good. That's what I hear. Like it's gone rampant, and especially in the hockey. Don't forget, this is real hockey. A lot of places are real hockey places, but they don't really show a lot of hockey. It's more of a love story, right? So. Yeah, it gets a little steamy, I've heard, but that's okay. We're all adults here. We can watch that. But so we're talking Netflix, Crave, you subscribe to, a lot of people have Sonic bids, all those kind of things are all deductible. But if you've got Netflix and you're needing it to study movies, be careful how much you're deducting, because part of that might be personal, right? Or like some people say to me, well, for entertainment, I have to go and study how Keith Urban plays the guitar. And we made a joke about this. I said, I just like studying Keith Urban. But the thing is be reasonable. Maybe 1 or 2 concerts. Every concert you go to, is that for business? Some people it might be, but not usually, okay? If you're in ballet, you might be going to see certain ballet shows, and you might be going to the opera, or there's so many things, right? So, and it might be to help enhance your own business. And it's also enjoyment. So that's why that falls under, if it's not professional development, if it falls under entertainment, it's 50%, right? Vehicle will cover in separately, capital expenditures versus current, that will kind of get covered. Okay, capital assets means hardcore tangible assets that you're touching over $500. Then you're going to look at not just deducting them in that year, but then putting them on this pretty little schedule and claiming either depreciation or capital cost allowance. Kind of interchangeable for our purposes, right? And you get so much per year of the cost of that asset on a declining balance. So you're always going to get claim it, but not all in the first year, because these are going to last more than 1 year. Unless you bought them at IKEA. And so anyways, there's that difference. So watch that $500. Like a computer is capital asset. The computers go under class 50, which is 100%, it's 100%. So you're basically still putting it in there and writing it off. Some people just say, I want to claim a little bit every year. So, okay, we'll put it in different classes, do that. But if you want to claim depreciation and you're in a loss position, don't claim it. It's discretionary. Claim it another year when you need to reduce your profit. It's an expense that you get to claim in another year. Most of them you don't. You have to claim it in the year incurred.
So could you break that down a little more? Say I have this computer, I bought it 5 years ago. That year I made a little money, but not enough to worry about. The next 2 years I made lots of money, so I wanted to claim it.
No, you would put it on your tax return in the year purchased,
Yeah.
and then you claim the depreciation in the year that suits you. Because if you go and claim depreciation in a year that you don't need it, you've just increased your loss. Now, some people want to do that. Why? Because they've got other income from working at the university that they want to reduce that and get more of the university tax back. It's a bit of tax planning.
But I'm trying to understand the depreciation is a yearly percentage. Like,
Based on the estimated useful life of the piece of equipment. So the computer, most computers have a useful life of 2 years at this point because technology is changing so fast.
So they technically, but if you go to Costco and buy a computer, it's already obsolete.
Yeah. So when you're doing the depreciation, you can only do the straight line method for what is the estimated useful life. So if you have a computer that you bought 5 years ago,
sure,
they're not going to let you depreciate it 7 years from now.
So ready.
Because it's already been depreciated in there. Like it's,
so you can depreciate the computer, to be clear about that, for 2 years.
yeah, about 2 years. So like you would do like if you were doing it each year, you would do 50% the first year, 50% the second year.
And this is 20% per year on the declining balance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's probably like
it's too much.
it's
don't
a
worry.
lot.
You just-
Don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All we're saying is, yes, you get to deduct the cost of these assets. Not all in the current year, though.
Yeah.
There's a funny little schedule that will figure out how you get to deduct that over the next 4 or 5 years.
If you are doing like a big purchase of equipment, it would be beneficial to talk to a tax accountant to help you figure out your depreciation schedule.
So every time, specifically, there is no golden formula that works for every kind of equipment.
There's a straight line method,
They fall into different classes.
and yeah,
You have to know what class to put it in. So let's not get too heavy into this. We can talk about it later, okay? Would take up a lot more time than we need to, yes.
Just going back to workspace in the home, you've got an asterisk there. Are you getting to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Vehicle, we're gonna go over that too. Capital expenditure versus current. That's what I was talking about, depreciation. We'll go into that more in depth. Come and talk to me afterwards, just to clarify it a bit, but don't worry about it. If it's more than $500, you don't want to write it off that year if it's a tangible asset, okay? There's another place it goes to, okay? Now, meals and entertainment, we've covered it. When you take somebody out for a networking meal, please write on there, Bob Smith, networking, business, contract discussions, just make a little note. Trust me, a few years down the road, if you get audited, you remember what you and Bob Smith were doing, right? So just make a note, and it will be put in at the spreadsheet you'll be getting. If you want to look at those, you'll put it in at 100%, and then we claim it on the tax return. It automatically just takes 50% away, okay? And we covered the gift certificates, and 50% of the ITCs, if you're registered for GST, are allowed. Because the other 50% is that amount they're just allowing. So that's on my spreadsheet too. Yes.
I just wanted to clarify. So you said we don't have to have that. We put in, and then they do that.
Well, who's ever doing your tax return does it. So if you're doing your own tax return, as soon as you go to put it into the field that says meals and entertainment, you'll put in $1,000 and it'll populate to 500.
Okay.
Okay.
So just check to make sure that it's doing that, but it should
Yeah.
do that automatically.
Yeah, unless you cheat and you put in $2,000 instead of $1,000. Don't do that.
One last thing. I'm not seeing medical. So say if I have to have physio because I'm a guitar player with hand issues, is that deductible?
Well, your doctor would probably refer you to a physiotherapist and they'll give you a receipt, yes.
Okay, thank you.
It's on a different place on the tax return under medical though, okay? Dental, eyes, physiotherapist, counseling, there's a ton of things that qualify as medical expenses, okay? So I think we've covered meals and entertainment pretty good. Business use of home. You're using your home, you're setting up an office. You want to claim part of the expenses that came to that office. Now, we're going to go with offices, not studios for now, because studios is another thing. I have an office in my home and it's just it can handle 2 people in there working and it never gets used for anything. It gets locked when the grandchildren are around and they can't get paper out of it. So I've learned don't let them in the office. But it's used just for business. So I keep all my information for heat, electricity, insurance, mortgage interest, rent if you're paying rent, water, property taxes, and security system. And on the tab on my spreadsheet or your software, you will see they ask about these expenses. You're going to list 100% of those expenses, and the amount you get to claim is based on your square footage. It's going to say to you, what's the square footage of your office compared to your home? Guess, make it reasonable. I'd say if you have just a bedroom, large bedroom or whatever, set aside for an office, you're somewhere between 10, 12, 13% of your square footage. That's about it. Here's the problem with people that work off the kitchen table. The calculation is unbelievably complicated. This is going to say that kitchen table is, you guys eat there. So you don't get that portion of it. You don't get the portion for weekends when you're not there. How long are you at that kitchen table for? How many hours a day? Get an office, get a separate room, because that is just ridiculous, right? And do you really want to leave all your information out on the kitchen table? Do you have a question?
Yeah. For example, if you're renting a studio, I mean, like apartment studio,
Oh,
just one room exists. That's it.
yeah, you can definitely, that's rent. That's not office in the home, that's rent.
So you can just.
So there will be a column on my spreadsheet or even on the tax return. I don't know how you're going to do it. My spreadsheet is the numbers, the total numbers you're going to take and put on a tax return. You might be just doing a tax return. You're going to put rent in the business expenses, that kind of rent. Okay. This is for rent of you're renting your house. So you're renting an apartment, then you wouldn't have mortgage interest or property taxes. You're saving a lot of money. And so basically the office is to do your work. You might meet clients there. It's not required you have to meet clients there. The way they write it, it looks like as long as you're doing business there, that's your computer, your files, your phone, your some of us still have a landline. You have to phone CRA. I can't tie up my cell phone while I'm phoning them. So okay, we can go on to that's business. Did you have another question about business use of home? Okay. There's my card. The card's been in this. Ray has seen this before. She's seen my little red card. I don't know how many years ago. I leave it in there. So I just thought this cutest thing. Vehicle expenses. There's another tab just for vehicle expenses because they have to be calculated on a percentage as well. License and registration, maintenance and repairs, insurance, fuel costs, parking, and it's subject to limitations. And these I don't want to get too much into. Capital cost allowance or depreciation, you're allowed to claim for a vehicle up to the cost, a personal vehicle, up to the cost of $38,000 only. If you went and spent $60,000 on a vehicle, for your proprietorship, you can only depreciate up to $38,000. So if you want, you can guess.
Would you have to have a business license plate for this? You can deduct fuel and maintenance.
Everything. But I'll tell you, you have to do it on a percentage. How do we calculate the percentage? This mileage logger app, I don't know too many people who keep an actual physical mileage log anymore, but if you do, fine. But you can use an app, Track My Drive, or I don't know, there's tons of them out there. And you're going to take all those expenses and claim the portion that applies to the business expenses over the total mileage of the car. And that's the percentage you get. I know some people in real estate that are still proprietors. They don't want to incorporate. They drive their car probably 95% of the time for business, and 5% of the time to go to the grocery store because they're working all the time. So they show it by mileage. They know where they've gone. They're tracking their mileage. If you forget, add in some extra miles. If you're like me, I get lost all the time. I have to add in a few extra miles. So and that's how it's claimed. You add 100% of these costs and claim whatever business mileage to total mileage that percentage comes out to be. Does anybody have any questions about that? Yes.
So if you have a car and you pay credit to the car, it cannot be deductible, right? But if you have a lease the car, so it's deductible.
No. If you have a loan or a lease.
Well, if you have
get-
a loan, so it's
Yes.
not deductible. If you have a lease, it's deductible.
So the loan is you can claim the interest. The lease, you can claim the leasing payments. Both ways, you get the same amount over the life of the car because that's how they divide it. Lease costs can be $1,100 a month for the life of the lease. Capital cost allowance is 30% on the vehicle, up to $38,000 on a declining balance. This is where I said this gets a little different, but I'll tell you what, if you want to know whether you should lease or get a loan, very personal. You're going to get exactly the same amount from CRA. Leasing, though, you might have a buyout. And some people like to lease because they like to change in their vehicles all the time. I like a loan because I want to eventually own my vehicle and be able to sell it that way. But most lease, you have a big buyout. So it's just a personal, and leases have all these rules. You can only go this many miles, you can only do this, you have to get maintenance, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not interested in that. I do want to think about it, yes.
So on the log versus app thing, like, is it the kind of thing where like I went to this restaurant and I had this actual receipt? Like, do I need like? Because I would
You're tracking your mileage. You're tracking your mileage on the app.
So how far did you drive to go to that restaurant for that business meeting?
And you've got to do that every time you get here.
Here, and somebody asked, how do
There's a lot.
they do GPS, don't they?
Yeah,
Because I usually like I'm like I know what my mileage like I know what the whatever the thing said on my dashboard at the beginning of the year and then at the end, and I kind of have a sense of what percentage of that was me doing something for work.
Okay, but if Siri says she prove it.
So
That's
but
what-
prove it like a log, like if I'm writing in a notebook
write
like
it.
a log.
You could get an app.
I could also
every
look
time.
that up though. Do you know what I mean? Like
It's hard to do unless you know how to do it. You have to, if it's written down, take and stomp on that occasionally and spill some coffee on it, use different pen. You have to make it look legitimate. It's a lot of work, right?
yeah, that is a lot of work.
So use an app. Every time you get in the car, put it on and it'll track, and you put business miles. It tracks business miles. And if next time you get in, you're going on a holiday, personal miles. It'll track that. So it's tracking all your mileage, but dividing it into business and personal. Track My Drive. Anybody else use another app here?
So one gentleman in the other session said his QuickBooks self-employed also tracked the mileage for him.
Yeah, that's right.
And so then it was,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Staples sells mileage books as well, log books.
Yeah, you can do that. Or you can do what I do, is I go, okay, I look at my odometer, I go, yeah, I probably went 30 kilometers a day. I go home and I write it down in my day timer, and my assistant adds it all up at the end of the year.
Still kind of an
Very-
approximation.
Very archaic.
Okay.
Well, if I had to prove, I
I
would
guess
say,
there's no receipt. There's no receipt on that day that
no,
like
this is
I
mileage.
wrote this much. Yeah.
There's no receipt. You go to the bank.
Yeah.
I come here.
Yeah.
I go for an interview. I do some networking. No, it's not about receipts. It's about mileage for vehicle expenses.
But I guess what I'm saying is
But
that
need receipts for
the guess.
this?
Like, that is the guess at the end of the day. You're like, how many, or like they really want like 0.0 whatever, or they're not going to take it.
You know what? I have had people who estimate it, like you were saying you do. And if they don't get audited, they're fine.
Right.
If they do get audited, they're going to have to show, okay, I have this show, I did this, I went to a rehearsal. You're going to have to kind of recreate it. It's harder, much harder. Yes.
One thing I did in that regard was kind of stupid, but go on Google Maps.
Yeah.
Map my house where I was.
No, that's, yeah. I actually use Google Maps most of the time. That's why I knew how to get in here, even though I don't like coming in. I made it, but that wasn't fun. But it was Google Maps, and thank goodness I did that because I thought there's got to be two ways in here, and there's not. That's ridiculous. Yes.
A question about the capital cost allowance. So I have a vehicle that I'm using. It's a 2014, so it's obviously not worth a whole lot of money. But how do you determine what your vehicle's worth, or the CRA?
Do they care?
How do they?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you have fair market value.
Okay, so I just need to go find fair market value for my vehicle then? That's something I need to do.
Yeah. If you're gonna start,
Like Kelly's Blue Book,
yeah,
it's pretty good.
My husband's an auctioneer, so
There you
I
go.
have.
Oh, well, yeah.
But I just wanted to know, is that something that I need to provide, or is that something CRA will?
No, they don't. They're not Big Brother yet.
Okay.
They don't know. That's why we can get away with some things because they're not. So we want to be reasonable, right? We want to be fair to ourselves. We want to follow the rules as best we can. Can we push some of these rules a bit? Yeah, why not? Right? Because they're not there. And as long as you've got a good explanation for it, you feel that you are entitled to it. But yeah, the Blue Book value, most people know. Well, if your husband's an auctioneer.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah.
I'd sell that vehicle for blah, 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 right? Okay. Depreciation, we've gone through this a bit. I don't want you to get too hung up on it. It's a little chart in your business income and expense area that you get to put what you bought and what class of asset it is. And if you're doing things electronically, it will calculate your depreciation because you can override it and put 0 if you want, right? So let's not get too hung up on it. I just give you some ideas of what is an asset. Tangible piece of furniture or equipment, a car, a laptop, all these types of things. And as long as they have a value, if you bought them off Kijiji and you got this table, instead of paying $1,000, you got it for $50. Well, okay, it's not $1,000 table, it's a $50 table, right? Good for you, you save some money. And you don't have to depreciate it, you just claim it as current expense, right? And they're grouped into different, and you can CCA again, it's optional. CCA or depreciation, I like to use both of those words because you're going to hear both. But we know for accounting purposes it can be different, but we'll just leave that one alone. Okay. Do I register for GST? Oh, God. Okay. Basic rule. You can register at any time you want to. Once you register, you are registered, and you have to charge GST on all your services, or you get to claim ITCs, input tax credits, on the part of your expense that says GST on the receipt. You look on there, that's what you paid out. You get to claim that against what you bring in. And that net amount goes on that whole amount goes on a different return called a GST return that the government wants you to file. Because they want to complicate your life as much as possible. Please remember that once you register or have to register, you are now a tax collector for the government. All you're doing is collecting their tax. This is not your money. There may be a time you get a refund. Yay. Not going to happen too often unless you're a zero-rated person like a farmer or somebody who's on the OnlyFans. I have a couple of clients on OnlyFans. I don't ask too much about it, but they don't have to pay GST because they're on U.S. platforms. The U.S. platform pays the Canadian government, but they get to claim all the ITCs, the GST they paid on any purchases, video equipment, hair and makeup, vehicle, office in the home, okay? They get money back. The average person here is going to wind up paying CRA, okay? You have to register this is their stupid rule again. You can't just be, when I hit 30,000. No, have you exceeded 30,000 in the last 4 calendar quarters? It gets confusing, okay? Let's just go with, if you're getting close to 30,000 in any type of income, grants from the States, from Canada, you should be registered. But grants don't have any GST. Edmonton Arts Council is not paying you GST on that grant. The United States is not paying you GST on the income. It helps qualify you to have to register. So you have to know how to do those returns. I got question.
Keep going, I'm confused as all.
Okay.
So we talk about just income. For example, I get for the last quarter like 50,000 in not a sponsorship, so it's investment. So I have an investor in Europe, in Monaco, and he just sent me money. I don't have.
Can I have his name?
Yeah. So Walter Blake. He's single.
Mike.
So it's not GST, right?
No, there's no GST on that. No, but your corporation, I forgot that you're incorporated.
Yeah.
Your corporation would be registered for GST, but it will not pay, when you file your GST return, that will show up as exempt income.
So I have to register on GST in this case anyway, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're gonna need help with the corporation to make sure you are filing that properly. Are you doing your own bookkeeping?
Yeah, for now, yeah.
Okay.
That's why I'm
It's
sitting
very
here, and
complicated.
I'm not smiling, you know. That's why.
I'm gonna be making referrals. I have an amazing CPA that will look through your stuff, make sure you've done your own bookkeeping properly. Because if you don't have a good accounting background, tax background, QuickBooks is not that easy, and you can make mistakes, and you don't want to pay more tax than you have to, and you really don't want to cheat the government too much if you made a mistake the other way, right? There's pay more tax than you have to, it's a big thing. And I know you were confused about this. Just if you're getting close to 30,000 in gross income, you have to register for GST.
You've got two conflicting things there. It's 30,000 in 4 consecutive quarters, or 30,000 in any single
Yeah.
quarter. What does that mean?
It means
It
it's
it's the same thing.
okay. Let's say you're just starting business. There's no 3 consecutive quarters, right? Your first quarter, boom, you go over 30,000. You now better register ASAP. You've got 1 month after that month to register. No choice. Okay.
Okay, what
If the next quarter you don't make 30,000, too bad, so sad. You've already registered. You have to charge GST on all your services.
okay. For example, if you have a contract that's over $30,000, but you have all the fees, deductions, everything that you're responsible
Okay.
for, is it gross income or net income?
Gross income is your qualifying. Don't forget what that's just a qualifier that you have to register. Once you register, it's like your taxes, you'll see in our spreadsheet. You have your gross income minus all your expenses, what you pay tax on. Your gross income for that you've charged GST. The total GST you've charged minus the GST you paid is what you pay back to the government or you get a refund. But this is just to qualify, they go by gross income. That's the qualifying income.
That's
it.
It qualifies you, yes. But
You said,
what if you signed the contract not knowing that signing that contract means you have
well, how much was the contract for?
$37,000?
Well, you're registered now, do it. It's the gross, not the net after taxes that qualifies.
Okay.
Sorry,
So good to know.
that's the thing. This is just what is your qualifying income. At the end of the year, your net income that you actually pay tax on for tax purposes could be minus 40,000. Okay, but we're talking what qualifies you to have to register, right? Not what you pay tax on at the end of the year.
And what if you don't? What if you didn't know and you didn't
They'll
sign?
backdate it for you. They'll backdate it for you.
Totally.
It's really important to phone them. Another thing, quickly, do not ever say that you will file quarterly GST returns. That means you have to do your bookkeeping quarterly. You want to say, I want to file an annual GST return if necessary, that I made enough that I would owe over 3,000 GST in the year after the return's done. You make quarterly installments. It's like working for the university. It takes tax off every check. You're prepaying, you're making installments to the government of tax and Canada pension.
Based on what you made the previous year.
Well, installments, yes, based on the previous year. Yes, you're right. So I didn't want, you're right, Ray. I didn't want to get too much into that. But if it's our first year of business, you probably wouldn't have to make installments. You wait till the next year.
It's not my first year because it's a 1-year contract.
No, first year of being over 3,000 GST alone. That kind of guideline. But let's not worry too much about the particulars. Let's just make sure you get registered. And then you get to claim any expenses, GST expenses called ITCs that were on every invoice against anything but don't forget if that's a grant. Oh, a contract. Okay, the contract will have GST on it. If you didn't charge it, you may want to go back. Well, actually, she can't charge GST until she's registered. So that contract won't have GST, but it makes you have to register for going forward. Yeah, these are the rules. This is why I say businesses fail because they don't know the business behind their business. This is why. Yes, and then, sorry.
You were first, actually.
Okay, you go.
And I know you kind of already touched upon it, but like grants in terms of this. So if I get so my accountant told me one thing, and then I called the CRA because I wanted to make sure I was getting a grant, but like only a portion of that would be my income because everything else is like others and expenses. And my accountant told me one thing. I phoned the CRA and they were like, no, you only like it doesn't. Like I don't need. Basically, they were saying you don't need to register for GST, but like is
How much is the contract?
Oh no, that was a grant.
A grant.
AFA grant, 18,000.
Oh, you're not didn't hit 30,000 with your other income, did you, or did you hit 30,000 with other income?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they told me, but like not with my portion, like my.
And don't talk about expenses when you're talking about qualifying income just to register.
Yeah.
It's gross income only we're looking at to hit that 30,000.
Still gonna come back to the situation is that, so it's 30,000 in for consecutive, if the contract is a yearly contract, it's over
No.
$30,000.
That's what you've reported.
No, if a contract is for a year and that year contract says it's $37,000, does that mean that's over 30,000 in 4 consecutive quarters?
Okay, we're gonna, for the sake of simplifying that, say yes. You've got 37,000 in a contract. Now you need to register, but you're lucky that that 37,000 does not fall into your GST. You haven't registered yet, so you don't have to pay GST on it or charge it. Can we talk about your situation? I really do need. This is getting too much into the personal situation.
Sorry.
We can't. I'm sorry, but we can't cover it. Did you have a question?
Mine is similar to theirs, but that's okay. You can move on.
Okay, we'll go back to it, and if you just want to stay at the end, that works too. Okay. So we have to register for GST. Once you registered, you have to charge it on your income, your expenses. On the spreadsheet, it shows a separate column at the end. If your total expense on something was $105, okay, you rented something, you pay $105. The rent expense when you register for GST is $100. Your GST is $5 and goes in the other column because it's going on a separate tax return. The two combined equal the total that came out of your bank, really, okay? Now, if you're not registered for GST, you claim the whole $105 on the tax return. Okay, yes.
So say you sell products online and then you are collecting GST because it's automatically populated. I do not have a GST number as a sole proprietor currently. I probably should, is what I'm understanding, right?
Shouldn't be charging if you're not registered.
But it's part of the platform, it's built into the collection method.
Well, then you should have registered. Okay. How long have you been doing it?
It's like I just a month.
Oh, okay. You can correct this quickly. Okay. Phone and get registered. Say how long you've been doing it. And the thing is, once you start taking the GST, that's not your money. Those are government trust funds.
Yeah, and I've been keeping that separate. Like I'm aware of that, but I
tell
didn't know how.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you need to register, and you need to register it back to the state. They will gladly put it back as far as you want to. Okay. And then you can claim the ITCs and all the expenses that cost you for your business. Okay.
Okay.
As of the date they put is your registration date.
the date of your registration date, so that you would backtrack it to
If
prior.
they backtrack it, then it would backtrack your expenses too. They may not. They may say, okay, it's only been a month. We'll start now.
Okay,
Okay?
and I would call the CRA.
Yeah, I would do that. I make a phone call, make sure you're an annual filer.
Annual filer,
Yeah,
and then
I'll try and talk you into
quarterly-
you don't do that.
to an annual filer and quarterly payments.
If you need to make
But
quarterly,
I probably it'll be
you probably won't.
yeah.
Right?
Great, thank you.
Okay. See if we can get through.
Thank you.
That's okay. GST, there's some things you're not gonna charge GST on and you're not gonna pay it on. So if you, just quickly, let's just say, it's places supply, we're getting in tougher rules with GST. I think it's more important not to know when you charge it, but when you've, well, yeah, I guess it is. Income earned in the United States is not subject. Income earned in that, it becomes, we've gone through that. So just remember, there's some places that you can't charge GST to. And there's going to be some places you need to charge HST to, depending on your place of supply, which is another big rule. So let's go into what you can claim it on. ITCs, right? Anybody that you're paying GST, once you're registered, you claim it on this separate return. Otherwise, it just goes on your tax return. But GST wants its own return. So it knows exactly how much you collected on your services and how much you paid out. Now, be careful. There are some things you're not paying GST on. Don't try to claim it. You're not paying GST on insurance premiums, band union dues, band members that aren't registered. You could hire somebody and they say, oh yeah, I add on another 5% because I charge GST. Well, what's your GST number? Make sure they are registered for GST. Yes.
I just want to add something to that through the auction business. One of the first things when we got audited, they asked for was the GST numbers of our vendors. Make sure you have that because they actually do ask for it.
Yes, they do. And you can go on the CRA site and put in a business name and GST number to find out if that's a legitimate number. Because if you paid it out, you better be able to prove you paid it to the right person that is registered. Okay.
Fun that how I operate in finance is I don't mark GST if I do not see it on the receipt.
Right.
And I do not have the number for that company. So if it's not on the receipt, I make sure when I'm doing the accounting it's exempt or zero because there's no tax was charged.
And there's no number. They have to verify themselves by their invoice. When you
Don't you have to, and how do they collect the GST in that exchange?
That's different. Okay.
I mean, like just in general, like even with the exchange between services, if someone doesn't have a GST number, but isn't theoretically they're supposed to be a 5, like how does that money get accounted for at some point? Does it?
Well, you're talking like you're paying somebody?
Yeah, in general.
Okay, if I'm paying a subcontractor that's not registered for GST, I don't pay them GST.
And the government just doesn't collect that GST?
Nobody does. That's it. Nobody
Up
does.
until 30,000. Oh,
So if I'm registered for GST and I'm paying you
yeah.
to do, let's say, do my plumbing.
Yeah.
So I'm not registered for GST and I need that done for my business. I'm not paying you GST. You're not registered. There's no GST transaction there.
Yeah, but isn't that still an expense that the government's going to want to track to
No,
collect that? Oh,
because you don't have a GST number. I'm not paying it to you and I'm not claiming it.
because you're not.
I'm
you're not
claiming-
collecting it on behalf of the government.
I'm claiming it as an expense without.
Yeah, I understand. Okay,
Right?
thank you.
Okay. Try and get through these next slides. I think we might have to skip a few because we want to be careful of our time. Donating to charities, just be careful. Ask whether or not they will give you a tax receipt for your service. Some of them will now. Just to be you have to have a good or cash that you're giving them to get a receipt and not your volunteering. They're different if you want, and most charities know how to the workaround, and most of them will give you a receipt if they want to. They don't have to for services, okay? Just know that. We're not going to get too much into inventory because I don't think anybody's at that level, right? An auction would have inventory.
So I'm not, this is different than the auction that I'm doing, but I have inventory.
You do, okay. Oh, but you have a corporation too.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to talk about, I didn't want to get into it. I'm gonna cover a few more things before, yes,
So same thing, I have inventory.
okay, you both have inventory, okay.
Basically like computer cameras. It's like-
Okay, yeah, you'll have inventory. So basically with inventory, you're matching the cost of that good with the sale that happens, right? And that's all we need to point out at this point, because you have to know how to track your inventory and the cost associated with your inventory for your cost of goods sold and your tax program. Okay? Business number. Some brands will ask you for a business number even if you're not registered for GST. You can now get the number without registering for GST or setting up a payroll account. We had to do a workaround in the old days. No, you can't. Otherwise, all your proprietorships are known by your social insurance number. Your corporations are separate legal entities. They have their own business number, okay? So once the proprietorships register for GST, your GST will have a business number, a 9-digit number followed with RT0001. That's your business number for business. As soon as you get that, you better get your My Business Account CRA. They will not send out anything in the mail to businesses. You've got to be online. Same with My Account is switching over. Well, it's really switched over to electronic. You have to have My Account. If you don't, get it immediately, because if you get into filing season with CRA, you can sit on the phone for 2 to 3 hours. You do it now. I got through in like 5 minutes today 3 times, so it's easy. Okay, your audit. You can be audited, right? Just remember, they have to do certain audits. They pick certain things. They don't always know what they're doing. Well, I need that Schedule 5 from your tax return. It's on the tax return. They'll still ask you to send it in. I need you to prove that you reported that granting income. Well, it's on my T2125. It's on my business and income statement. They don't look. Give it to them. Tell them, and also talk to your auditor. Explain your business. Explain why you have certain expenses. These start when you get this level of audit. These are newbies, and often they don't know what they're doing. Right? Help them understand, because if they do something wrong, first of all, you have the right to appeal. You can file a notice of objection within 90 days of anything they've changed and you disagree with. You can represent yourself. And if you disagree with the appeals division, if your tax is under 7,000, you can go to, I think it's 10 now, actually. Yeah, I think it's 10 now. You can go to the tax court. You can represent yourself. Okay? Anything after that, well, you better have money and go have a lawyer. And it's got to be pretty serious. Usually throughout those levels, you'll get it resolved. Usually once you hit appeals, you're getting people who know what they're doing, understand, and they don't have the same restrictions as a frontline person. Frontline person can often be very restricted. And another thing, I want everybody to go home and pull up the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. Do not let anybody at CRA tell you that you don't have rights. You do. You have a right to be spoken to in a language that you understand, be it French or English. And actually, when I worked there, we had all languages. We could pull on somebody who knew Cantonese, Mandarin, it doesn't matter, right? But normally it's the French or English. I don't understand. You can get someone for you. Also, you have a right to have someone represent you. They say, no, I got to talk to you. No, it's paragraph 16 of the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. You have the right to hire someone to speak to CRA on your behalf. Do not let them intimidate you. And ask them if they've ever read the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. If they haven't, say, we'll get it from your supervisor, because that's who I'm talking to next, right? Mm-hmm. You have to not let them bully you. They can't take away, like I said, they say, well, we're going to take you to jail and take your firstborn. Yeah, please do. But the firstborn, you can go anytime now. I'm 39, I'm still having problems with that one. Just kidding. But okay, and what's our last one? I think this is telling you all the different things. My account register now. It's just, you're going to want, people are winding up in big trouble. I get calls every day. Well, I didn't know they did this. I didn't know they did this. I didn't. Do you have your My Account? No. Well, get it, because you have to have it. This is the way of the world. You can't stop it. I wish I could, right? There are times I wish I could. My business account, you can pay online. I can represent you, right? That's represent a client. There's direct deposits. If you set up direct deposit with CRA, that does not ever give them the right to take money out of your bank account. They can only put it in, okay? And that's scary to some people. Taxpayer Bill of Rights, there's a payroll calculator on there for anybody who's got an employment job or thinking of getting one. You can calculate your what your source deduction should be. It has important dates. When does everybody file?
April 30th.
Ah, good answer, you could. When you're self-employed, you can file by June 15th. But if you, but, here's one of those stupid rules again. But if you owe money, you have to have paid it by April 30th. Yeah, I was like that one. I'm going, unless you're a big company and doing, like weekly, daily bookkeeping, you really don't know, right? For corporations, when do you file? File your GST 3 months after your year end. You can file your corporate return 6 months after the end of the year, but you have to have your tax bill paid by 3 months after your year end. There's your rules. And your GST, never miss a filing deadline. If you guys are behind, get caught up. The penalties for filing late are horrendous. 5% of the tax outstanding. If there's no tax outstanding, well, they can't penalize you, right? And 10% interest compounded daily, posted bi-weekly. You should see it. And guess what? If you file late more than 1 year, or the second year, maybe the third year, it all depends how they decide, you get double late filing penalty. It goes from 5% to 10%. I have a guy whose late filing penalty was $4,500. You want to give the government more money? No. Try and do your best you can, file it on time, and catch up if you're behind. Because a lot of times people are behind. That happens a lot.
So for someone like myself and the other person that has a regular job as well as contract income, would that be two separate returns then?
No, one return, and you have till June 15th, even though you work at the university or a regular job, but you also have self-employed, you can wait till June 15th. My thing is get it filed by as soon as you can. That way, because June 15th is 6 months into the year.
But if I'm owing, then they're going to go back to April 30th.
30th is the day you should pay, and that's when they start charging interest.
And then,
Is
yes.
that true for the GST as well? Like
GST, yes, it is. So GST can be filed June 15th for self-employed people, but if you owe, the interest will go back to April 30th.
That's so mean.
I know.
That's mean. Why
Yeah,
not
it's
ask
just
for it in
rude.
April?
They know how to make money.
But nickling and diming little people, well, corporations, governments.
Well, the thing is with corporations, they have big accountants that do this stuff, and they do it on time. I can't imagine what some big corporation that owes a lot would have to pay a late filing fee. It just hardly ever happens. They're not going to do it. The cost would be phenomenal. And guess what? Those penalties are not tax deductible. You don't get it. It's like you get a speeding ticket, people. You don't get to write that off. It was your choice to speed. Doesn't matter how late you are for the meeting. It doesn't. No, it's a non-deductible amount. I know I got 2 in 1 day once.
But you can claim the mileage.
Yes. Can't find that damn ticket twice. I'm into White Court and going out of White Court. But yeah. So yes, this is the part you need to know. So when you do get a representative or you're doing it yourself, you're empowering yourself to know some of the rules of this, okay? Because a lot of times you go, my accountant never said that. Well, I wonder why. There is also the CRA site is a wealth of information. There's a lot of site, AI is very good, but you have to ask the right question, people. Make sure when you're using AI, ask the right question, because if you don't ask it the right way, you'll get the wrong answer. The wrong answer. So do a little research, double check things. AI is pretty good, but you have to say it properly, right? And it's only going to give you the beginning. Huh?
I'm scoffing.
No, but even if you put in there, what's depreciation? Can I depreciate my car when I'm self-employed? See what it says.
No thanks. Oh,
Okay, do we have any quick questions before we have to wrap up?